Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of 1990s Represent. We're starting out our seventh cycle of 1992 with an album. In this video, we're talking about Bizarre Ride to the Pharcyde by the Pharcyde. Obviously, first released in 1992, just a great hip hop rap album. I didn't listen to the Pharcyde like right away when they first came out. I think the very first time I ever listened to them or heard of them even was off of their second album, which I believe was Lab Cabin California. I think that's what it was called. I heard that in late 1995, maybe early 1996, and then it wasn't for a few years later though I actually ended up checking out this album here, as well as listening to all of Lab Cabin California. So I haven't heard of all of their albums, but I have listened to this one here, Bizarre Ride to the Pharcyde, as well as their second album, Lab Cabin California. And I think they've released like a total of 4 albums so far. They haven't put one out, I don't think, since like the early 2000s. I want to say maybe 2004. When I was doing some research for this video, I saw that I think they did, like this was 92, their second one was 1995, and then I think the other two were in the early 2000s. Let me actually just pull that up, and we can take a look at that really quick. Just check up their discography. We'll see when their other 2 albums came out. So yeah, so we have this one in 1992. Their second one is in 95. 2000 and 2004 were their third and fourth albums. But it's a different kind of vibe than a lot of the rap music of the time period. Kind of gangster rap at the time was pretty dominant with like albums like The Chronic, and also if you go back to like the late 80s, like NWA. I think like during this time period, like a year after this, or roughly a year later, Snoop Dogg put out his first studio album. Tupac, I think at this point, had released at least 1, maybe 2 albums. So gangster rap was really kind of the dominant subgenre of hip hop at the time, or rap and hip hop. And this falls into the more of the kind of hip hop where it's more comedic, a little more silly. Kind of, I liken it more to like something like the Beastie Boys, even though they're different like they're different like production styles. The kind of rhymes are kind of similar in that way, where they don't really take, the lyrics aren't all that like serious. Like in Dr. Dre's The Chronic, the rap, the songs are all about kind of like life in Compton and kind of like the struggles that they were facing at the time. Very much kind of like recounting what like the current events of the time period. This one is a little bit more lighthearted, and it's a lot of fun to listen to. So I have my notes here for it. We're gonna get through those, and then we will get into like the track list and all of that. So let me just pop this up here. All right, so we have Bizarre Ride to the Pharcyde. It was first released on November 24th, 1992. Like we mentioned earlier, this is the debut studio album by the Pharcyde. And like I said, the first time I listened to the Pharcyde, or even heard of them, was in late 95, early 96. And I think I remember seeing like a music video for one of their songs on MTV. I don't remember what the song was. I can actually let me actually pull up Lab Cabin California, because I can. It was probably one of the singles off of it. It may have been Running. So Running is I can't keep running away. That's kind of that one. I think that was the one I think they had a music video for that. I could be wrong about what the video was. But I remember I had a humanities class my freshman year of high school, and the teacher in that class was also the band teacher, music teacher, and he was pretty chill. So one of the students actually brought that album into the classroom, and I think the student just straight up asked, "Hey, can we play this during class today?" Because it was like we were doing, at least in the beginning of the class, we always had like a drawing assignment, because this is humanities, so we're doing a lot of like, he had us drawing these Renaissance style drawings, but he would have us do them in weird ways. Like you would like look at like he would have us draw a picture. We would basically be copying a picture essentially, but different ways to look at it. We would look at the picture upside down and then draw it upside down basically. But during that time period, like it was like that was like the first portion of the class. These classes were like an hour and a half long, and somebody wanted to listen to that album during that part of the class, and he let them play it. I think he eventually had to have them turn it off with it having, like too many f bombs or whatever. But like a lot of teachers like would be like, no, you can't listen to a rap album in class. So he was pretty chill about that. I had a couple other teachers throughout high school that were also like more chill than most. I remember my I think the class was communications, and then I think it was called American Social Systems. It was like a government class, and I remember like she was like really into Alanis Morissette, and like when that album came out, Jagged Little Pill. So she was also a very cool teacher. So I had a few of those, but yeah, first time I got to listen to some of those songs was in that class, but again, the teacher eventually made us turn those off. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, the gangster rap at the time was kind of the dominant like subgenre. But this one came out. It's a little bit more silly, not as serious, and I think that's kind of like hip hop, but it's more fun generally. Like gangster rap is really good as well, but I think like sometimes there is a place for both gangster rap and then this kind of more silly style, whatever you want to call it. The album apparently didn't sell very well, at least initially, but it did go. It did eventually sell, I think, at least 500,000 copies because it got certified as a gold record. So it eventually did sell like decently, but didn't sell like amazingly well. Even though it didn't sell very well, it's like highly critically acclaimed. Shows up on a lot of like best like hip hop rap album lists as well. Apparently, the members of the band started off as dancers in a group called Two for Fun, and I think they were eventually, I think, they had like a brief run on In Living Color. I think it was on Fox or whatever it was, like very early 90s. I think, who am I looking for? Like Damon Wayans, I think, was on that. Jim Carrey was also on that show. But yeah, they were dancers on there apparently, and that's where they met Suave, who would become their manager. By 1991, they were signed to a deal, which got us this album. The album was produced mostly in part by Jay Swift, but he kind of had a falling out with the band. I think he was didn't feel like he was properly compensated for his production work, and then also I think like his claims were that the members of the actual MCs, the actual Pharcyde members, were trying to basically like get production credit away from him for themselves. So he produced most of the album, and I think he's still listed as the producer. But I think after he produced like most of the songs came up with the beats for most of the songs, he left. He wasn't one of the MCs, but he did have a falling out with the group. This is what's considered to be, I think, part of the according to my research, the Daisy Age of hip hop, which is named after, I believe, a De La Soul song, or maybe it was an album, not really sure. But it's kind of like hip hop from the late 80s and early 90s, and it's kind of the more lighthearted groups, or like De La Soul is in there, A Tribe Called Quest. You could probably throw in the Daisy Age as well. It's like I said, it's mostly attributed to De La Soul, just because I think like they were kind of like the bigger of the groups, and it kind of because I think it was like 3 Feet High and Rising was their album, and kind of that style of hip hop didn't necessarily originate with that album, but I think that was like one of the most prominent examples of that style. So yeah, it's part of the Daisy Age, which is named after them. The album Here Bizarre Ride to the Pharcyde produced, I think, 4 singles. You have Ya Mama, which is kind of a funny, just your mama jokes, basically. Like, I think we were all kind of telling those back in the early 90s. Next single was Passing Me By. Then you have For Better or For Worse. And then I Love Fish. Those were the 4 singles. We're now going to get into the reviews and the track list. So let me just pull that up here. So you see our reviews here. So here are the initial. We'll do the initial reviews, and then we'll do the retrospective reviews. So initially, Entertainment Weekly has it at a B. The Philadelphia Inquirer gave it a 4 out of 4. Q has it at a 4 out of 5. Select also coming in with a 4 out of 5, and The Source with a looks like a 3.5 out of 5. A 3.5 out of 5 there. And then into the retrospective reviews, which I think are a little bit better. All Music has it at a 5 out of 5. The Encyclopedia of Popular Music has it at a 4 out of 5. A 9.3 out of 10 from Pitchfork. Rap Reviews has it at a 9.5 out of 10. Record Collector has it at a 5 out of 5. And a 4 out of 5 from the Rolling Stone Album Guide. So pretty good reviews overall. The album has 16 tracks and it comes in at 56 minutes and 41 seconds. So we're going to take a look at our track list here. So track 1 is For Better or For Worse, which is an interlude. We have track 2 is Oh Shit. Track 3 is It's Time. It's I'm not going to actually say that, but yeah, it's that time. Track 4 is For Better or For Worse, the full track there, not the interlude. Track 5 is I'm That Type of Playa, changing that up, of course. Track 6 is If I Were President, which is a skit. Track 7 is Soulflower. Track 8 is On the DL. That was track 8. Track 9 is Pack the Pipe, which is just another brief interlude. Track 10 is Officer. Track 11 is Your Mama. Again, that was, like I said earlier, was basically just a series of Your Mama jokes, which fit the vibe of this album perfectly because it's very lighthearted. Track 12 is Passing Me By. Probably my favorite track on the album. That was great. Track 13 is Other Fish. Then track 14 is Quentin's on the Way, which is a skit. Track 15 is Pack the Pipe. And then closing it out, track 16 is Return of the B-Boy. So again, 16 tracks, 56 minutes and 41 seconds. And this is just a very solidly put together hip-hop album. Like I said, it doesn't take itself very seriously. It kind of strays away from the serious nature of a lot of the gangster rap of the time to kind of be more positive, more lighthearted, just more silly, more jokey, I guess. But yeah, it's a great hip-hop album, and it's a great way to start off their discography. I would highly recommend checking this album out. And then also checking out Lab Cabin, California. That one's also really good. I haven't listened, like I said earlier, I haven't listened to their third or fourth albums, but I'm definitely probably going to check them out at some point. But that's going to do it for now. So remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. We'll see you again next time. We'll be back with a movie from 1992 before jumping into a video game. But yeah, we'll be back in a few days with those. And that's going to do it for now. So thanks again for watching. Take care and have a good one. See ya.